Let's make some money.
Get them to sign on the line which is dotted.
This is the Focus Group with John and Tim.
Hey, welcome back to the Focus Group. This is Tim Bennett here. It's 5 past the hour. I'm here with my good friend and co-host, John Nash. We are Satellite Radio's first original program dedicated to the world of business, gay or straight. That's the Focus Group with Tim Bennett and John Nash. Right, John?
It's true, Tim, and we ran out the clock last hour, and I wanted to just wrap up the spiced cookie thing.
Did we run out the clock? I think we did.
We're welcoming another Pennsylvanian. Donna Serdula's here, the incredible Donna Serdula of the LinkedIn Makeover.
Well, I want to give her a proper introduction.
You go ahead.
So do you want to finish the cookie thing?
Well,
first?
You do that, and then we'll do the cookie thing.
Okay. So it's Donna Serdula, and she has an internet marketing firm called Donna Tech Designs, which helps business executives and professionals enhance their visibility and attract more business through social networking and internet marketing activities. She's also the author of LinkedIn Makeover, and she's a profile writer for LinkedIn Profiles, John. And you and I have been bad because Donna was helping us with our profiles, and we've not done our homework.
I'm almost done with my homework.
Oh,
yes, I am,
good.
and you are not lying. If you hire Donna, and I strongly urge that you check her out, because her specialty is to take your profile and to really make it sing.
What would the best email be for them to contact you if they wanted to use your services?
Donna at LinkedIn-makeover.com.
Donna at LinkedIn-makeover.com.
Okay. Now, when I was bringing Donna into the studio, we were kibitzing about these cookies that Tim brought up, and you guys knew right away what they were, except the cream-filled ones are the new ones.
They're new, and they're delicious.
Well, that's actually a great segue for LinkedIn, because LinkedIn has a new homepage look and
a whole new profile page. They've totally redesigned it. In fact, if you take a look at it, the profile picture is now 3 times as large.
All right, so
it's like Facebook's cover page, right?
A little bit. It's getting close there, and with this new focus on the individual, on the way the person looks, it's getting more and more important to make sure you look really good.
You know, on one of your earlier visits, you actually talked about profile photos.
Oh, yeah.
And the importance of not just putting up something from an office party or whatever.
Or the one where you're in your cap and gown with a mortarboard.
Yeah, slide off to the side.
Or the worst offender is the wedding shot.
When you've cropped out the other.
Yeah, and you see that there's a person on the other side, but you only get half their face.
So were you taken by surprise by the redesign of the page?
Well, you know what? It's funny. It was probably about maybe 4 months prior. I was working on a client's profile, and I hit refresh, and this new profile just popped up. It looked totally different, caught me by surprise. I didn't know what was going on. I hit refresh, and it went back to the way it used to be. And I wondered. I thought, I wonder, was that a dream?
Somehow it hooked into code that they might have been testing or something.
Yeah, it was out there for maybe 5 minutes, not very long, and then it again popped in. It was like in the very late August, and as soon as I saw it, I just put it out there. I was sending it out to people to see, and it took about I think it's still rolling out. There's still some people with the old design. But this new one is really nice.
And they redid company pages as well.
Yeah.
But I think those are also going in a step process. If you're a large corporation, you'll get priority before Triberry Productions.
We don't have, but that whole concept of a company page, when Donna began to work with Tim and I, and on our makeovers, one of the big questions we had was, is it Tim and John, and is there one for our business and
one for the show,
and it can be kind of confusing. But so company pages have been around for a while.
They've been around. I'd probably say about 2 years now. They are not nearly as powerful as the personal page. I mean, there's still a lot that you can do with a personal page that you can't quite do with the company page. But it's a great way to showcase your company, make sure that it's available there within the LinkedIn network. It's a great way of, posting updates. It's a great way of talking about your products and services. And really, I think the nicest part of it is the recommendation piece. Because with the recommendations on the company page, it's no longer tied to an individual. So if that individual leaves, the recommendation still stays with the company.
So is it then a company is going to, how you have that news feed?
Mm-hmm.
And you see people are posting articles of interest. Mm-hmm. Do companies then post stuff? Oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay. So the company could say you might be interested in I haven't seen many. I haven't linked to many companies myself. In fact, I don't believe I have.
I linked to more organizations than I did companies.
I think Donna recommends that in the LinkedIn Makeover in the book. You talk about the importance of...
Yeah, connect with companies, hit the follow button, and you're then listening to their stream, what they have
So like
to
John's
say.
a huge fan of Apple, so if he hooked into the Apple, then
would
he
be
would
wonderful for you.
So what do you think? What do you think of the? I know there's lots of talk that it's simpler and it's cleaner and it's easier to navigate. Do you find it? Do you like it?
I do. The old design, it was very white. It was very zen, very minimal.
Yeah, I agree.
I think they've sort of stepped up, and I do think they're trying to look a little bit more like Facebook. They now have a colored navigation bar. It's a nice big black bar at the top. There's a background color, so the content is a little bit more contained. So I think it's easier for people to follow. And I think they are, again, it's this hat tip too. I think people like images, and so all of the images seem to be a lot bigger with this new redesign.
Where does a person go to find out? I'm a graphic designer by trade, so to me, I prefer to upload the precise dimension file.
God.
Don't waste bandwidth. Now, when I go to my page, as you said, my photo kind of is floating inside a bigger box.
Right.
Which indicates to me that I can do something. And I did think the LinkedIn profile pictures of the past were a little too small.
Yeah, I would agree. What I used to do is one of the first things I would do when I'm optimizing a LinkedIn profile is I would zoom in real tight on that person. Now we've got to actually zoom out a little because it's a little too confrontational, I think.
You just reminded me of a scene from the movie Tootsie. Remember? And they're like, how close can we get? Or how far? Pull back. And, how about Cleveland?
Right.
Not that far
It's
back.
RuPaul's Drag Race. Between the Vaseline and the nylon on there, you
So,
can't see 'em.
so in terms of the abilities of the site, if you have a photo of yourself that you like and it's sufficient resolution, just upload it. You can pan and crop.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
In fact, you can go pretty big, really, and then you can crop it. And if there is still enough pixels within there, when you do click on it within another person's profile, you click, it actually will get bigger.
Yours does that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wondered about that trick. I'm like, I clicked Donna's picture and it blew up. I'm like, oh, wait, mine doesn't do that. Because that means you have a nice resolution.
Yeah.
Because you overthink it, like you did with the Facebook pictures. You're down to that very tech graphic designer. I got to make sure everything's perfect. And
Yeah, well, it's the way I'm wired.
most people are stupid. They just upload. What if you don't want to put your picture up?
Oof.
Well, they do say, I think it's profiles with profile pictures are 7 times more likely to be opened. So you don't put up a profile picture,
Right.
you very well might be passed by. People are attracted to a smiling face. And so it's one of those things where you really have to say, all right, maybe I'm not going to look like a supermodel. Maybe I'm not going to look like a spring chicken. But you need to show that you're serious, that you mean business, that you're friendly and warm and well-adjusted and clean. These are all good things that we need to put out there.
But has any of your clients ever given you a reason for not using a picture that you were actually surprised by or that you thought was actually valid on some level?
I had one.
Oh.
I actually was working with another company and a consulting thing on a corporate page, and they didn't want the pictures of their managers and employees on there because they handled lots of money. And they were concerned that as they moved money around, that they would be a target.
That's a kind of an. That's,
I never
respect
thought of it.
Neither did I, and I wonder who would have.
They did.
But
Because I said I need pictures of all of you. We're going to put your pictures up, and they're like, we don't want our pictures. And I said, why not? Everybody, like Donna said, and they said, well, we move large amounts of money from place to place,
No,
and
it
if
makes
somebody
sense.
says, hey, that's the
That's the guy
she
we
or he is
saw.
the guy that runs the place, and they're carrying money. I don't want people to identify us. Maybe that's an odd case.
I would have a hard time arguing with that. I'm pretty good at arguing these things. That one,
that one took me for a loop too, and I was like, oh, okay.
Often what I get is when I'm doing presentations or I'm working with someone, they'll say, look, I'm in my 60s and I'm really worried about age discrimination.
That's what I was expecting you.
And what I always say to that is, look, discrimination is always going to happen. It's out there. We have to recognize it. But I want you to get discriminated against really early in the process so you don't waste your time with a company
Right.
that you wouldn't even want to work for. There are tons of companies out there that respect experience.
And wisdom.
And wisdom. So, get out of that trap before you waste any time, and show that, because eventually you're going to have to walk into that office and they're going to see those crow's feet.
Yeah,
it's going to happen.
It is true.
So might as well do it in the very beginning and just be done with it and find a really good company.
It reminds me of some of the obituaries. I don't know, I've been reading obituaries now, and then you'll see like a picture of somebody, and you're like, oh, they look...
From 1940.
But then it says, he was 93 years old, and you look at this picture that they put in the paper, and he was, 15 years old. But I guess the same thing would happen.
But, Donna, that's an interesting point you bring up. Tim and I were down in Washington a while ago visiting XM studios and doing some work down there. And on the train ride back, I shared the seat with a surgeon who lived in Jersey. And somehow we got talking about he was one of these people that specialized from the head to the neck. Mm-hmm. And I guess he was trained in certain plastic surgeries. And he said that there are many men who come in to have the bags under their eyes mitigated, because that adds a bit of youthfulness. And I think you have an interesting point when you say, put your picture up, get that. If there's ageism that's going to be front and center, get it out of the way. Yeah. When you are working with someone, do you play editor? Do they often send you, do you request 3 or 4 photos?
It's funny. I was just working with a client yesterday. In fact, she sent me her entire studio shots. There must have been 150. And I went through all of them, and I found the top 4 that I liked. And so, I do try, because...
You went through all of them?
I went through
It wasn't one of those glamour shots, was it?
It's like you're like playing an art director,
put that drape on and makeup.
There were 2 changes of clothing, 2 wardrobe changes. And, I like seeing it, because I know myself, it's very hard to look at yourself objectively.
Oh, yeah. That's why I asked. I think it's interesting that you would offer that ability, because you're 20,000 feet view. Mm-hmm. That's the picture that, because you see this. You're on the site all the time. You know the things that are going to resonate, right?
Yeah. And I'm often surprised at the pictures people choose.
That'd be a funny little blog to do, of the kind of, here's some of our favorite LinkedIn photos. You do one of those anonymous, look almost like the lurid
digs. Yeah. Because I've seen photos that I'm like someone in Photoshop's scraped away the people, and you see the pixel.
You cut the head out.
Or they've taken a bad tiny cell phone picture and blown it up, and it looks like a game thing.
All right, well, what I'm going to do then tomorrow is, you guys have pushed me. I do have a collection of bad profile pictures, one of which is a man who has a parrot on his head.
Well, maybe he was a pet shop owner.
I don't know. There are other ones I found. One is of Lurch from the Addams Family.
Oh my God,
that's hysterical.
There is another one of a woman sitting on the edge of a bed wearing boots. What is she trying to say here?
Wow.
I don't know what.
And that's it?
No.
Oh, okay.
She's got a little bit more, but it was inappropriate, to say the least.
I think, Donna, you have a marketing thing there. I think you should feed those out somehow.
No, we do a Tumblr blog like we do with our socks. We're going to start with our socks.
People start hooking in, because that's a great way of nicely critiquing stuff and making people laugh at the same time. Hey, let's go to Mike in New Jersey. Mike, welcome to the show. Do you have something for Donna today?
Hey, everybody. I just wanted to comment on what you were just saying about the potential age discrimination. I own a mid-sized healthcare marketing agency and just completed a round of hiring for a social media person, and just hired a 59-year-old woman. When I first saw her picture on LinkedIn, I was like, okay, this is an older person, but I got the best of both worlds. I got years of excellent marketing experience, and then looked further, and she was the most savvy with social media, the group she was associated with on LinkedIn, and she just blew away the competition that was 30 and 35 years younger than her. So the picture probed me, or forced me to probe and go deeper, and I got the best candidate for the job. So it really wasn't a question about age after all.
Mike, that's a really fascinating thing. So do you routinely use LinkedIn as one of your primary tools for hiring?
First thing I go to when I do resume review. I do pay for the extra benefits and seeing deeper than just the free, I guess, membership. But it's the first tool that I myself once human resources clears the resumes that I go through.
Wow. And do you find that, like, on the woman that you hired, for example, was her profile sufficiently different from her resume that you were actually able to round out? Because Donna talks about this frequently, that the profile should not be a resume.
Yeah, it was different. I like going off the grid a little bit and looking at people's human interest, what they do when they're not working or selling themselves through a piece of paper. So I look at the groups that they belong in. Are they trying to better themselves with continuing education? Do they like the likes that I do? And maybe it's not the most PC, but I try to get a view of where they stand personally, politically. As an openly gay male business owner, I look at personal interest and want to make sure they'll be a fit in the organization and the philosophy that I've tried to create.
Well, you're rare.
Listen to Tim. Yeah, you're rare.
But it's, I try to stay within my guidelines and not discriminate against anyone, but I will tell you that sites like LinkedIn and the other social media portals definitely give me a glimpse into the people I'm going to invest not only salary dollars in, but development dollars, benefit dollars, and I'm 80 people as a company.
Wow.
I hope to expand, but it's an investment, and I'm going to use every resource. By no means am I an expert, but her profile on LinkedIn forced me to take a look at all my social holdings of what's out there if someone Googled me. So lesson learned, it was a win-win on both sides.
And what he's doing, the way he's using LinkedIn for research, that's very typical. In the hiring process, it's very, very typical. It's even typical for someone who's looking to purchase a product, who's looking at a vendor. If they're prospecting, they're looking into their prospects. It's looking at LinkedIn as almost like a supercharged Rolodex.
Yeah, rounding out the picture.
And
right?
yeah, they're getting a better picture. They're feeling more comfortable. And it's very typical. In fact, they say 80% of companies today are using LinkedIn
80%,
for
wow.
recruitment purposes.
Hey, Mike, I want to thank you for the call, and it's an excellent call, and I think it's pretty cool what you're up to. So thank you, and have a wonderful Saturday.
This is the Focus Group with Tim Bennett and John Ash. We're speaking with Donna Serdula, who's author of LinkedIn Makeover, Professional Secrets to a Powerful LinkedIn Profile. Mike's question led me to something we had a question about from a listener about how open you should be about yourself. He mentioned it, and particularly us being on an LGBT channel, focus channel. Harvard just did a study, and they sent out 1,700 resumes for the same job. And on the first group of resumes, it all mentioned that they were involved in gay campus events or they were part of a gay club. The other resume did not, but same qualifications, same names. And they said that 40%, the one with the gay on it, got 40% less callback. And I was wondering about that on profiles because when John mentioned earlier about what we do, because a lot of what we did and currently do in past things we've done, there is the gay word that comes up, or LGBT. And they said that their recommendation after this study at Harvard, which was quite extensive, that they thought it still did harm if you had the word gay or something to that effect on your resume, except they said if it was employers in the Northeast or California, what they did.
Seriously?
Well, what they did is they broke it up by geography then, because they said this is kind of scary. Texas, Florida, and Ohio were the biggest offenders of not calling back. But they went down more granular to each state and said that generally in the Northeast it wasn't an issue, and in California it wasn't an issue. But there were lots of places that it was. And I wondered about that, about how much you do share, because he mentioned he wanted to, he was particular about he wanted to know that. But, I mean, do you have to counsel people on that sort of thing?
Well, since I've come on this show, I have to admit I have a lot of clients who are gay. And no surprise they're being on this show. And there are times when we have to talk about it. And is it something we want to put out there? Is it something we don't? Sometimes when it comes into play is towards the personal information when it says married or not.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that, it is upsetting to be able to, do you leave it blank? Do you say single?
So that question is
married?
there, right, on the profile?
Yeah.
And
And you have three choices. Nothing at all, single, or married.
So, John, what would you do having been in or being in a long-term relationship? How would you answer that question?
I wouldn't mind letting someone know I'm in like Bob and I, April will be 27 years, I think. I mean,
Right.
some people look at that as a very valid and positive thing because that's a long-term relationship. It shows that your commitment levels and stuff, but there's not even an option to put that.
So they don't
right?
have partner, they don't have domestic partner
No.
or whatever that's odd, right?
Isn't it? I think, honestly, what I think is most odd is that they even ask that question.
Yeah, because you're not supposed to, I mean, in HR, if you were just, pure HR purist, that those sort of things are not supposed to, I guess you can ask, you don't have to answer them. But I used to get asked all the time. There's not an interview I'd gone on where people asked whether I was married or not.
Strange. That you did touch on something that's very interesting about that one aspect of the profile thing. And Tim, thank you for bringing up because a lot of our listeners have said that many of the angles that we deal with on the business side of stuff, that's when it creeps in, when the LGBT creeps in. Hey, we're here with Donna Serdula, and we're talking LinkedIn, but we are going to take a very quick break, and we are going to come right back. So stay with us, and we'll have more LinkedIn coming up, and more Donna, too.
The Focus Group is brought to you by the Volkswagen Jetta, the surprisingly sophisticated compact sedan. That's the power of German engineering. Visit VW.com to learn more. Focus on the outside of business. Outside of business. With the Focus Group.
You really believe we can succeed? Yes.
Hey, welcome back to the Focus Group. This is Tim Bennett here with my good friend and co-host John Nash, taking your calls toll-free across North America. Is Sabrina at 866-305-6887, and Matt is captaining our ship today. We have the pleasure of our quarterly visit with Donna Serdula, who is an expert in LinkedIn, and she's written a book. Do you have 2 books now?
Well, actually, and the second edition is going to be coming out at the end of October.
And that's LinkedIn Makeover, Professional Secrets to a Powerful LinkedIn Profile. And both John and I, Katie has already done, our listeners remember Katie, she worked with you. And John and I, John's further along than I am, but we're both working on our profiles with you, and we encourage our listeners to tune up their profiles as well by contacting Donna. And John, you had a good point about
I just said during the break that I really encourage people to look into working with Donna because even before you write your resume. Because her questionnaire is not hard, but it certainly makes you think.
I like to think of it as probing.
And because and that's why listeners, I think this might be a very interesting experience. If you're thinking of redoing, maybe you're moving into a new career, you're changing jobs, you are still on the job market. The resumes these days, resumes are not carrying the same weight they used to. It's something required. You need to have one. I'd say you need to have about 5 versions of one. Mm-hmm. But the profile is so key, and I think you could actually reverse engineer it. You could work with Donna, get your profile pitch perfect, and then create your resume. Does that sound like, that's what I'm thinking. Hey, let's go to Jerry in New Hampshire. Jerry, you have a question for Donna?
Oh, yeah, this one's pretty complex.
I'm ready for you.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm a transgender person, and I'm in transition. So all of my legal information still says I'm male, but I've been living female for 5 years. But I have. Here's the other complexity is that I was 30 years in the computer industry. I was a senior marketing and business consultant, and then got laid off. Mm-hmm. And in order to survive, I ended up building my own carpenter business, which died in the economy, and now I'm driving a tractor trailer. So I look at LinkedIn and I go, okay, this thing puts all my business experience in, my current experience to my previous experience. So it flags that I'm a truck driver to start off with. And then somewhere in there, with my involvement with PFLAG and all sorts of other things, eventually it shows that I'm a transgender person. How should I highlight my business expertise, which I really love doing and working with people and businesses?
I guess my first question to you is, what is your goal with LinkedIn? What are you trying to get out of it? Are you looking at it as simply something that highlights your past? But, who are you trying to target with your LinkedIn profile?
I would love to get back into a management role and working in a company, working to better some organization. I guess I've been poking around. Right now, it's somewhat lost. It's a mad scramble to survive out here. So I've been trying to highlight that I've got product management and project management skills, and working with events and that sort of thing.
I think really where you're going with this is, you want to craft your profile in a manner that's going to really spin it to what you want to be doing. So you want to pull out those highlights, like you had said. In terms of being transgendered, I don't know if that's anything that you need to necessarily mention within LinkedIn per se. I think you just need to look at it as it is. Where have you been? What were your accomplishments? What did you learn from it? And then in the summary, you need to talk about your story. And if that is probably part of your story, but it's your manifesto. What kind of impact can you have? What is it that you're hoping to achieve? You need to weave that together.
Okay.
Jerry, you bring up a good point as I'm listening to this, because there are so many people out there that have either been laid off or left jobs or, downsized or whatever, that have done other jobs that might not be necessarily what
they want to be doing.
Right.
Yeah.
And so does LinkedIn allow you to, because it sounds like Jerry's saying, I've done all this. I'd like, she'd like to do more of that, but because she's now doing a truck driving thing, that seems to what rises to, to the top.
Chronologically, if that's...
So you don't have to do it chronologically, or
you have to, yeah.
Do you?
Yeah, it's you have to do it chronologically. The nice thing though is you can put things that are if you have a number of positions that are current,
right,
you can reorder those. But in terms of the big picture, unfortunately, the truck driving is going to be at the very top.
What I'm hearing from Jerry, and I think it's really cool to hear this, is she can't wait to contribute meaningfully to an organization to move their needle forward as well. And I don't know, how do you capture that? And how do you let an employer know that you are really ready to come on board and help them move the puck? I mean, it's
the summary section where you do tell your story and you talk about what it is that you hope to achieve and the benefits that you add. But then it's really reaching out and using LinkedIn as that database to find interesting companies and connecting with those employees, those people who are in management, forging a relationship with them, networking with them, and being on the, receiving line when those job opportunities open up.
But none of us here have discussed the issue. I mean, Jerry brought it up. We're not necessarily discussing the issue of where is the relevancy of being transgendered. So I'm guessing we're all saying that shouldn't matter. But there are some interesting and very incredible character strength issues that are a part of that story, I think. Yeah. I don't know how that gets translated to...
Well, she's saying that people can, from looking at her profile, can see that, right? Is that right, Jerry?
That's what I would hope. I've applied to a number of jobs. The challenge is, especially when I put together a resume, or when I get out to a site where I actually have to answer questions on a form, and I have to put a male name because that's my legal information still. And I have to check the box that I'm male, but the picture is definitely female. That's the way I am.
I see what you're literally creating that kind of conflict in the system or a disconnect of some sort, even though it's not intentional.
I do think the summary section of LinkedIn, that's the very first part. And then after that, that's where
all the chronological.
Then it goes chronological. It's the story that Jerry wants to tell, and maybe that's a great place to state it. I mean, it's there.
Yeah.
And maybe it's a way of just like you said, the character, what it takes.
Full transparency.
Well, the character strength to do this is, and to me, that's a asset. For
and doesn't
anybody,
it go back to what we were saying earlier about age discrimination?
If there are people that regardless will cast that aside, but there are people that may look at it and say, you know what, Jerry has all this incredible experience, and we want to have her in to talk to us. It's a real puzzle, Jerry. It's an excellent question, and I want to wish you luck in your job search. It sounds like you've hit all the buttons that I've always been talking about with the economy lately. About it's a mess out here.
and Jerry, the other thing, and I think John and I will spend some time on this next week because it does. We don't have all the answers here. But there's got to be some place where there's a resource, and we'll check and relay that information.
Yeah, so keep listening because this is a very. I want to thank you for calling and sharing this with us and asking Donna a very smart question, and we're gonna return to this. I think.
Yeah.
Jerry, have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you. I'm driving.
Well, give us a shout out.
Deep, deep.
I'm waiting for the horn.
Yeah, but there's a horn.
Oh, I can't because there's a cruiser over here.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, hey,
Steady.
drive safe. Thanks, Jerry.
Bye now.
We usually get the horn honk.
Yeah, we love that.
We're still waiting for somebody to come
pick me up and take me around.
John's never been in an 18-wheeler, and we're hoping somebody one day drives through Manhattan and can take John for a drive.
So Donna, so always with the focus group, you're going to get some interesting questions. But I think that Jerry's question really helped me to understand something about, and you kept coming back to this, the summary.
Yeah.
Use the summary. Is that statistically an issue where someone's going to look at a profile and they may not go further than the summary?
Oh, yeah, many times.
And that
for a
may
lot
be,
of reasons, right?
Yeah. I mean, if that summary is written in a really compelling, engaging type of way, and you tell enough information about yourself to make yourself impressive and interesting, if you end with a clear call to action, connect with me on LinkedIn or give me a call, the person might just reach for the phone and call you and ask you to sell yourself the rest of the way. Yeah.
Are you surprised? Like that Jerry's question, I think, is very smart, and it goes to Tim's earlier point about how we handle the orientation issue. I'd like to say that I wish, well, for me, it's a place of strength for someone to tackle that and to understand themselves that well, that they're going to,
But that isn't that the difference? So, John, if you read that, you would be the kind of person that would say,
I want to see this person.
I'm interested to see more. And so whether it's that or it's the age issue or race issue, people discriminate for whatever reason. And the issue is, as transparent as you can be, if they don't want you and they don't want to talk to you, you probably didn't want to work for them anyway because it wasn't going to be a good experience.
And it's funny, Donna, when you said that at the top of the interview, I was like, well, boy, she just cast that out. But you are right. Why get it out of the way? If these are the people that are gonna
if you're going to work for an organization, you want them to be a success. You want to be a part of that.
Right.
How could you want to wish a company good and want it to succeed if they don't even like the core of your being?
Yeah, and then the entirety of it.
Yeah.
We like everything you're doing except that. All right, we have to sadly wrap up, but Donna, I want you to give our listeners, we're going to post it to Facebook, and we obviously have, we're putting a new banner up on focusgroupradio.com right under our little sock thing. There's going to be a little powerful band. I was going to put your picture in there. I'll send you the comp, but it's a way to get directly to Donna to have, and I can't stress enough how interesting and cool it is to do, and it's not that crazy expensive.
You have to use her picture. She talked about it earlier.
I do. I push on that.
All right, we're going to use a picture. So Donna, for our listeners, your website or how to reach you?
Sure, LinkedIn-makeover.com, or you can always go to LinkedIn and just search for Donna Serdula, Serdula.
And you will be rewarded with her wonderful profile. Her book is LinkedIn Makeover, Professional Secrets to a Powerful LinkedIn Profile, which apparently is being updated.
Yes. Working on the second edition for the end of October.
By the way, listeners, it's a very funny book because the chapters are in reverse. You start at 11 and go down. Was it 11 or 12?
12, I think.
12, and you go down to chapter 1, and there's a very specific reason for that. It's fun. The book sucks you in right away, and it makes you start playing with your profile. And even if you just buy the book and do your profile over, you're already a step ahead. So, Donna Serdula, I want to thank you for joining us again. It's always a pleasure to see you. We're going to see you in pretty soon, right, Tim? Next
December. I think December's your next visit.
I can't remember the exact date, but I think it's early December.
But you've been busy, before you go quickly, you've been busy doing some public speaking, right?
Oh, yeah. I've been doing a ton of public speaking. Just last night, I was at the Delaware social media mashup, and we talked all about LinkedIn. We had a huge crowd, and I'm always looking to do more speaking like that. It's always fun.
Well, good for you, as John said. I mean, you've really come along, and we appreciate all the advice you give us here on the focus group.
Another wonderful segment with Donna. It's the Donna and the focus group powering LinkedIn. All right, we're going to come back after we take a quick break. Thank you again, Donna. It's been a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to see you. And when we come back, the famous segment of the show, Tim's List. And no one knows what the list is except Tim. It's better be fun this week, so stay with us. We'll be right back.
Forget it, forget it, forget it.
The Focus Group is brought to you by Las Vegas. Experience world-class dining, unbeatable shopping, unique entertainment, and pulsing nightlife. Go to visitlasvegas.com/gay travel for great deals and information.